Welcome here to the Ride Along channel on a beautiful morning in Vassiliki. The onshore sea breeze is just starting, so a nice gentle force 2 or so is coming through, so perfect wind for training the advanced clinic that I've got in this week, where we're looking at planing efficiency and early planing, using less muscle and allowing all of the rig to do the work for us, and of course jibing skills and variations of high wind, high speed jibing. And the light winds are the perfect time to do that, as I hope you've seen in other videos on this channel. This video today is about my 3 worst bits of advice I've heard from windsurfing coaches passed on to students, or the students I've got in my group have actually heard them passed on to themselves, and why stand alone with these little bits of advice they can be so bad. But when understood, twisted, or most importantly engaged in the right way, they might actually improve your windsurfing. First of all, to address the elephant in the room, no, I'm not going to mention mast foot pressure apart from right now in this video. Yes, I do think it's a terrible piece of advice, and I've done a whole nother video explaining why mast foot pressure is a bad thing. So let's put that to one side for now. We've got 3 other little tips or little bits of advice that generally are misunderstood, misactioned upon, that I'm going to dive into just now to help you out. And although right now I'm standing on the balcony at the beautiful surf hotel in the middle of Vassiliki, loads of onboard clips are going to clarify and solidify all these words that I'm using just now. Tip number 1 that generally isn't helpful is bear away. Now this is from low intermediate all the way up to planing out of your calf jibes. People just shout, bear away, thinking that's going to help the person out. Now, there's a few reasons that can be bad bits of advice. First of all, and this needs to be understood to start with, the phrase bear away doesn't necessarily mean downwind. To get planing, yes, you need to bear away a little bit, but where it's misunderstood is bear away doesn't mean go below a beam reach. Now, if the wind is coming from this direction right here, a beam reach is 90 degrees across the wind. So if you're sailing upwind nicely, remembering that all good things begin upwind, you're then told to bear away slightly in order to get planing. That's correct. But where it's misunderstood is people go downwind, and all that does generally is make it too powerful, too hard to control the rig and the board, and you end up just catapulting out the front door or battering off with no real control at all. So bear away means turn from your current point of sail a little further away from the wind. And if you're just doing it little bit at a time, then it can be pretty good. We rephrase bear away being bad advice to now understand comprehensible advice. Generally telling someone to go downwind isn't the best piece of advice though, and that's where I think people misunderstand it, is they just go downwind. If you're trying to get planing, stay above a beam. If you're trying to water start, stay above a beam. If you're trying to plane out of your calf jibes, it all starts sailing upwind, and you bear away a little and start your preparation phase. Just bearing away, the usual result is too much uncontrollable power, instant speed that I can't control, and quite often catapulting out the front door. Before I dive into bad advice number 2, remember, if you're liking what I'm doing, if you appreciate the videos I'm putting out there, thank you so much. Remember to hit that little like and subscribe button down at the bottom. Hit the little bell so you get the alerts when I'm releasing stuff, and even check out the cookie caps and the t-shirts and the other stuff that's available through this channel. All good things start upwind, and slippy not grippy. The catchphrases, the mottos that we should be living by with our windsurfing. Tip number 2 that I hear quite a lot is relax. Now, telling someone to relax when they're tensed and stressed and learning something new that's probably at the edge of their comfort zone isn't particularly helpful. I skied a lot over my years. I'm now a backcountry mountain guide, and I ski in the French Alps, teaching and guiding all winter. Cheeky plug, if you're coming to the French Alps, look into Alpe d'Huez, come and join me for some skiing. And when I was learning to race, and I had to learn to race to do part of my ski diploma and become an instructor, the ski coach kept telling me to relax. All I wanted to do was punch him in the face. It was the most annoying and frustrating thing to hear when you're at the edge of your comfort zone, pushing to do something new, and especially with a sport like windsurfing, you're in some pretty extreme conditions. Yes, relaxing your grip, relaxing your body, taking a breath or two, all these things can help you. But the big question is, how is that going to happen? In order to relax, and this is what we need to really dive into in order to relax. How do you relax? You sail upwind, you start to let the harness lines take the weight of the sail. You start to predict and read the wind. If you know that a gust or a lull is about to hit you, you can predict what's going to happen and you can take according action. If it's all a bit of a rush and a panic, it's all very physical, it's really hard work. It links in quite nicely to tip 1 as well, which was bear away. Generally, if you bear away, you're holding on for dear life. It's not possible to relax. Head upwind. Allow the harness to take the power in the sail. Loosen the grip on the boom. The windsurfing shaka started from very cold windsurfers going, I've had a great session. When they're only holding using 3 fingers, that's kind of where it came from. That's how you can start to relax. Loosen the grip on the boom, sail upwind. All good things begin upwind. Final thing I hear a lot shouted around the place is sheet in. Sheet in gives you more power, they say. Now, when we're windsurfing, it's about smooth airflow across the sail. And that's called laminar airflow. If you sheet in too much, and this is what happens a lot, first of all, it becomes very, very physical with your arms, so you can't relax. You definitely can't bear away if you're sheeting in, and you'll end up just sort of skidding out of control or skewing into the wind and stopping. The sciencey bit about laminar airflow is when you sheet in, generally you start to create turbulent airflow. So that's where the wind is no longer running smoothly across both sides of the sail. It just becomes a bit of a belly on the inside. I'm going to put a little airflow, a little wind tunnel example on the screen just now. And I know I have used this before on the channel, but that's because I think it's so important to understand that opening the sail doesn't necessarily depower it. It creates smooth laminar airflow, allowing you then to control the sail and decide what to do next. As you open the sail up, you're more likely to start to sail upwind. It's easier to sail upwind, it's easier to change direction. It's easier to then start to channel the power you have got. And once you're smoothly channeling the power you have got using your harness, not your arms, then you can start to accelerate. And as that happens, you naturally start to sheet in anyway. Even more so when we dive into the true wind moving and becoming the apparent wind. So that's a little bit more on the nose. As you start to use your harness more, soften that grip, relax, loosen your grip, look upwind, the sail will naturally start to close. Instead of thinking sheet in with the backhand, think possibly move my harness lines back an inch or 2, move my front hand back an inch or 2, and depower. Allow yourself to gently fall in backwards. Take the whole system, you and the rig, from a vertical V to a more horizontal V. As that happens, the board will accelerate and you'll naturally sheet in through the harness. Close to the wind. Depower so that my whole body can become horizontal. Push your hand, push your foot. Board starts to accelerate. Woo! All of this is done upwind above a beam. Thank you as always for joining me here on the Ride Along channel in the centre of Vassiliki. Remember, if you're coming this way and you want to join clinics or some coaching, drop me a message. All of my contact details are down below. Thank you very much. See you on the water soon.